Hi people, it's me, Anja. My pronouns are she and her, and welcome back to my channel for a new recent reads video. The first book on this list is called A Game of Noctis. This story is a mid-grade fantasy following a young main character who must participate in a deadly game with a ragtag motley group of people in order to save her grandfather from a deadly fate. This story is absolutely so fantastic and it's so good. First of all, the world building is so unique and it's so fantastic. And it's truly so immersive. And I don't really say this often, but the world building in this book was truly unlike anything I had ever seen before. Like, it was so intriguing and absolutely so fascinating. The plot is so engaging and so intriguing. I loved the found family group of friends. Like, I loved all of the different characters so much. Like, it was done so well. I loved, like, the different dynamics and the different friendships. The characters themselves, individually, all so well developed and so distinct. The mystery surrounding, like, the game and the history behind it and all that. Like, this book was so good and absolutely so fantastic. This book was basically kind of like all of us villains, but middle grade instead, and also, like, so much better as well. But anyway, all that to say, I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I would definitely highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Canto, Contigo. This story is a YA contemporary following a young mariachi star who transfers schools in his last year of high school, leaving behind everything that he's ever known, and he's also navigating the loss of his grandfather as well. This book is absolutely so good and so well done. It was one of my most anticipated releases of the entire year, and it definitely, like, met those expectations, but it didn't quite exceed them, which does happen sometimes. So anyway, with that said, the writing was excellent and the plot was awesome. I loved the characters. The romance is so cute and it's so well paced. I just really enjoyed, like, the character development and everything. This book was really good. I would say that, however, it's not better than the author's previous book. Like, the previous book by this author, I did rate 5 stars. And I don't know if I would say that I prefer this book over, like, their debut, you know what I mean? But anyway, overall, this book was really good. I also really enjoyed all the musical elements with, like, him being a mariachi star and everything. Like, that was really well done. However, like, he didn't go to any other class. Sometimes I was thinking, why doesn't he go to any other class? Surely he has other classes, he's a senior. But anyway, that's besides the point. The point is, I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I would highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Is The Fen. This story is a YA fantasy following a young main character who is determined to save her best friend from a sinister secret society. This story is absolutely so fantastic and so well done. First of all, the world building was so magical and so atmospheric, and it was done so well. I had really high expectations for this book because, as per usual, I had read the author's previous book, A Hunger for Thorns, last year, and I rated that 4 stars. But sometimes, like, the second book that I read by an author is often not as good as the last book, but I would say that this book is as equally as good, which is awesome. Anyway, I also rated it 4 stars. The romance was really well done, and I really appreciated their chemistry so much. Like, I think, like, if this book was set in a contemporary setting, I can see how people might argue that this romance is technically academic rivals to lovers, which is hard to translate in a fantasy setting. But anyway, the romance was well paced and it was quite cute, and also the friendships were so wholesome and so lovely, and I just really appreciated it. And also, I also appreciated that this book is set in a queer normative world. Like, her friends are queer, and there's no, like, homophobia or anything like that. So anyway, overall, the characters were well developed and distinct, and I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars, so with that said, I would definitely highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called We're Never Getting Home. This story is a YA contemporary following a Filipino main character who is lost at a music festival with her ex-best friend. This story is absolutely so excellent and it's so well done. First of all, I love the characters so much. The main character felt so incredibly relatable. The idea of, like, juggling everyone else's happiness around you at the expense of your own, but like wanting to have one night that doesn't go completely out of control, but then it does, is so incredibly like relatable. The plot was so intriguing and so engaging. I loved the timestamps. I loved like the flashbacks. The flashbacks were so well incorporated because they explained the context so well. Like the friendship itself was so like authentic and so lovely from both sides too. Like the characters felt so awesome and so lovely. The plot was so engaging. With the friendship though, however, I didn't know how it was going to end, which I really liked. And like overall, this book was really good. And I rated it 4 stars. So with that said, I would definitely highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Paige Not Found. This story is a middle-aged science fiction contemporary following a young, queer, autistic main character who discovers that her parents have enrolled her in an autism study without her consent. I really liked this book in some elements. First of all, the disability representation was so spot on and so excellent. Every single time the main character spoke or thought something or did something, it felt so relatable to me as an autistic person myself. And the conversations surrounding like consent and privacy and autism, especially regarding the ways in which allistic parents treat their autistic children, felt so authentic and so well done, because so many of those things I know happen in real life, in modern day, today. You know what I mean? Like, this book was so well done. The characters are so well developed and so distinct. The friendships are so lovely. The sapphic romance was cute, but I think it needed more time to be developed and everything. Speaking of, my least favorite thing about this book, and for some reason, I don't know why I wasn't expecting it, but the story is very much more plot-driven than character-driven. And, like, I loved the plot. Like, it was very engaging and very awesome and very important. And I loved the conversation surrounding it, obviously. But for me, I just prefer character-driven disability stories. I don't know why. But anyway, that's just my preference personally. So anyway, all that to say, I rated this book 3 out of 5 stars, so take that as you will. So in conclusion, typically, this is the part of the video where I say that my reading month in April has not been as good as I thought it was going to be, but I always mean that in the terms of like the quantity of the books I'm reading has not been as high as I was expecting it to be, but the quality of the books I've been reading lately, as you can see in this video, have been mostly really good. But the thing is that I historically tend to judge the value of my reading month by the quantity, because that's what I've been known for, because I have a reputation of reading so many books than like the average reader or whatever. Then that's how I like determine what's a good reading month, even though I know inherently that like the quality of the books you read is far more important than the quantity, if that makes any sense. I don't know if it does, but anyway, all that to say, my reading month in April, judged by the quality only, has been pretty superb, not gonna lie to you. So anyway, in conclusion, if you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the magnet emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!